right. So it's probably been a while since, it's been at least 3 or 4 months since I filmed one of these, so welcome back to the channel. Hopefully we can get a little more regular schedule. Today we're washing the truck, obviously. It's pretty filthy. We did a big backyard project, so I've been hauling lumber in it and, making a mess with it, so it's time to give it a full deep clean. But yeah, for when we first moved in, I was going to do an outdoor kitchen, but for some reason I just never got around to it. And I'll post a picture of what it looks like, but it took me a little while to plan it and get everything going, but finally figured out a layout and everything that I liked with all the appliances I wanted. But I always wanted to have like a built-in flat top. And I love the Traeger smokers, but I just hate the way they look on their stands. They're just like super cheap looking on the little wheels that they put them on. So I wanted to kind of have like a custom built stand for it. And then obviously a built-in barbecue. So I got a Traeger Timberline 850 and a Somerset TRL 32 and a 28-inch Blackstone. And so we have a whole nother island, which I don't know why they didn't put a barbecue there when they built it, but it has a sink and a built-in cooler and everything. So on the other side that I just built, it's got like a built-in Scotsman ice maker and all that. So I'll probably do a video on the channel doing a more in-depth on how I built it, but I basically framed it out of wood. I just went to the store with I went to Home Depot with kind of like a rough drawing of what I wanted, and picked up some 2x4s and some pressure treated lumber and went to town on it, and it came out great. The countertops are like a concrete skim coat, so I didn't do like poured concrete just because it was just like, I don't know, felt a little bit out of my skill set and a lot of work for little reward. Like the skim coat concrete countertops get you 90% of the way there for 10% of the effort. So I just covered up all the lumber with cement board, and then once I had all the lumber covered up in cement board, I just did a skim coat of I think it was like a concrete recap or something like that. And the hard part about that stuff is it dries really fast, so you have to work quick. And I was working by myself, so it was a little tough to get it done, but it came out really good. And the cabinets, I guess we just paint matched to the house. So I've only cooked breakfast on it so far. I've only used a Blackstone. This weekend we're going to smoke some beef dino ribs on the smoker, and I'll probably make some breakfast sandwiches, so I'll get a little more use out of it. But looking forward to using the barbecue for the rotisserie. But yeah, it's been pretty busy at work, so I haven't had as much time to kind of tinker in the garage and play with my toys. So I was feeling like bringing back the wash and talks. At least, I gotta wash my truck anyway, so it's not much more effort to bring out the camera, so I figured I'd bring you guys along. But the reason why I haven't had as much time is we've been hiring, we've been expanding. I think we have 7 sales guys on our team now, and then we have our transaction coordinator and an admin. And so the sales guys are really starting to, get into production and get past the training schedule. Last time I talked, I think we had 4 guys. We had 4 guys on the team, and so we brought on more guys and trained them and got them going. And so we've got a lot of young guys too, so those take a little bit more. They're all brand new to the business and, brand new to the workforce, so it takes a little bit more time to train those guys and get them going. And so, but we're getting to a good spot where, we've got a guy, he's pretty young. He's 19 years old, just got his license in January. I think he already has 4 listings. So it's pretty cool to watch these guys grow and develop them. But yeah, a year ago, we were probably 90% focused on wholesale and investments, and now you fast forward, we're probably 30% wholesale and investments, and the other 70% are more retail clients, like, you know, helping people list their home and helping people buy homes. And so our team has been crushing it taking listings, so it's pretty good for our small team, and given the fact that we had 0 signs in the ground this time last year, outside of the homes that I own. So I'm pretty proud of them, and these guys are really starting to pull together. But yeah, the market took a turn last year for sure. A lot of people got hurt. A lot of people didn't really know what was going to happen, and people were saying that it was going to be as bad as 2008. But you know, it was definitely slower for a lot of people, I noticed, but it's starting to come back. And you know, in the lower price points, in the good areas, we're seeing multiple offers again, and it doesn't seem like that's going to slow down anytime soon. If the Fed, you know, pauses rates or even lowers rates, then it's probably going to keep going in that direction. At least here in Phoenix. But thankfully I didn't listen to any of the naysayers, and I loaded up on some more Bitcoin, and I bought some more Tesla stock as things went down, and I'll probably continue to pepper in, but I won't go as heavy as I have been the last couple of months, just because I think now it's starting to get a little frothy with more buyers coming in. So I won't be as aggressive on the buying, but I'm glad I was buying Bitcoin at 17, 18 grand a piece. But yeah, so it's probably, I know we talked a little bit about the market changing last year, but it's probably June. Things started to get crazy with the interest rates coming up. And so luckily for me, I was never really a big home flipper. We did some wholesale, and you know, I'd buy rentals and things like that, which, you know, when you lock in a rental at very low interest rate, and you put a decent amount of money down, it becomes a lot harder to get hurt versus, you know, the guys that are flipping homes and doing 90%, sometimes even 100% loan to cost, and financing the rehab, you know, on, you know, short-term loans and interest rates. Becomes a little bit easier to, well, becomes a lot easier to get hurt by the market. So for me, I was never really interested a ton in that risk. Like, obviously we get a lot of good deals sent to us, so the best deals I would say for myself, and, you know, we'd flip them, but we were never doing, you know, like, I know some guys that are doing, you know, 10 flips a month. We were never doing that. We were doing a couple flips a month. So when the market turned, it was very easy for us to, you know, get out of our flips and move on. And luckily, you know, the ones that we did buy were at a significant discount, where, you know, even if we had to drop the price or put more money into them, we weren't in tough positions where we would, you know, lose our equity or lose money on them. So we got out of the flip game pretty quick, and now I've started shopping more for homes to buy as rentals, and in the process, I've come across people that are, and just doing research and stuff, I've come across people that have given out hard money loans that aren't really hard money lenders, and they're seeing them get a little heavy, so they're looking to offload them. So I think we're looking to buy probably more distressed notes than we are distressed properties, just because the worst part about my job is dealing with contractors and stuff like that. And the wholesale and the listings and the buyers and everything, all the rentals, everything that we do, the worst part is for sure dealing with contractors. And so I'd like to eliminate that as much as possible. And so in buying these distressed notes, you know, you're able to buy the loan at a discount of what is owed. So you're buying bad debt. So obviously the person is usually in default, or, you know, close to it, or, you know, the values are out of whack on the property versus the loan, things like that. Just stuff that the lender is looking for liquidity, and they want to get these loans off their balance sheet. And so obviously part of that is you want to acquire assets. But the other part of it is, you know, even if you're just willing to go through the foreclosure process, which Julie is in commercial finance and commercial litigation and bankruptcy and all that stuff. So her legal team could handle that stuff pretty easily. And luckily I can trust Julie and know that as my attorney, she's going to look out for my best interest because it's also her best interest. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the route that we're looking at going. And it's been, you know, we've been turning over some stones and finding some stuff that's super interesting. Let's move on to this last wheel. But yeah, some of the stuff that we're looking at is just like, you know, when things were super easy in real estate, people were giving out hard money loans because it was the cool thing to do. And now, you know, those loans are coming due that were given out, you know, at the top of the market. So say, for example, you have somebody bought a home last May, June to flip with hard money at the top of the market. So pricing was definitely higher than on the acquisition side and what they expected to get out of it. And so now that the market isn't what it used to be, even though it's coming back, if you're at a different value or you're evaluating at a different price, there's still no way around that. So, and you know, most of these hard money loans are about 12-month term. Some of them are 9, but most of the time it's 12. So those deals are coming due. And if you're an operator, if you're flipping that home and your loan is due in April or May right now, and you don't, either the project's not finished or you don't have a contract, then you're probably going to need an extension. And some of these assets at the prices that they're at, the lender doesn't want to give an extension. They'd rather just be paid off. So it puts those people in a tight position, because if you don't have the money to pay off the loan and your lender's not willing to give you an extension, now you got to go shop for a different lender. And if you over leverage the property because you bought it at too high of a value, now you're in a negative equity situation where, okay, so now you have to go shop for a lender. That lender is probably going to value the property lower and request that you put money in to the deal. So now, even though you already put your down payment, so say you bought a $400,000 home, you were expecting to flip it for $650,000. Well, when you bought it, you put your money into renovations, and you put, say $40,000 down. Well, now on the refi, your lender might ask for another $40,000. So you got to come up with $40,000, and you got to continue to pay the interest on it while you either finish the project or to sell it while it sits on the market. So if that buyer can't find, if they don't have the funds or they can't find a lender that'll take the loan, then they usually end up in default, and then that lender has to foreclose on the property. And so sometimes they'd rather just have the immediate liquidity than having to go through that, so that they can just go reissue the money in a new loan at, say, a higher interest rate or whatever it is. And so that's where we would come in, where we buy the note. If we like the asset and the price that we're getting the note at, say it's a $360,000 loan, we'll buy it for a discount. We're not going to pay $360,000, but we'll buy it at a discount. And then if we have to foreclose and get the property, we like that. We like the property. Or if the buyer ends up refinancing or paying off the loan or selling the property and getting us a payoff, well, then we can, we get whatever the spread is between the loan amount and what we bought the note for. All right, let's rinse off and start washing this beast. And bam, you're in default. You're having to sell your good properties to pay for the bad properties. And so they're selling off a lot of their bad debt. They're a victim of the market just as much as the property owner. So just because you're a lender doesn't mean you're always making good decisions or gonna be okay in a recession. For me, I've always been pretty risk adverse in that sense, where I know how hard it is to make money. So unless the upside is super big, I'm not really going to take a ton of risk, you know. And if the upside is not that big, then it better be freaking safe. I know banks aren't the most trusted entities right now, but you got to put your money somewhere. So I've spread it out. That's why I've got some in Bitcoin. I don't have all my money in Bitcoin. I've got some in real estate. I don't have all my money in real estate, even though I've got a large portion of money in real estate. But that way, you know, the Bitcoin thing takes off. I've got enough upside there. If it doesn't, my downside's not too crazy. But it's funny, I see people commenting, they think like my entire net worth relies on Bitcoin doing well, or that the real estate market prices affect cash flow. And at the end of the day, like, rents have been pretty stable. They've come down a little bit. But like I said, if you're on long-term debt at low interest and you've got long-term tenants in there, it's not going to be too much noise. It's not going to be a ton of problems. People think that, like, oh, a recession's coming, it's automatically 2008. If you own real estate, you're out of luck. And it's like, that's only the case if you're over-leveraged. It's not really the case for a majority of experienced investors. The best part about a recession is just like the shuffling of talent. There's a lot of talent that is moving around because, you know, real estate teams and brokerages and employers are all stuck trying to figure out how to make the strategies of last year work. Who the heck's calling me? Get out of here. But yeah, that's kind of the trap with real estate, is people get caught up in this one way to make money, you know, and they forget basically forget how to run a business. And you know, you can't run a business off of doing the same thing for forever. You know, every business changes. You know, as technology changes and opportunities change, like, you have to be able to adapt with the market. So if your old way of getting business was just posting on social media and your friends and family brought you deals and now your deals have gone down, like, at some point you either have to start buying leads, prospecting for leads, you're going to have to generate some business. And a lot of people, they were just building a business off of wholesale, like me. You know, majority of our sales revenue came from wholesale. And I learned very quickly that, hey, we got caught slipping on our sales business. And now, you know, we were able to regroup and kind of reprioritize what's important in our business for our sales guys and everything like that. But that didn't come without, you know, a few months of transition for me and for our guys, and thankfully it worked out. But I know for a lot of people it didn't. You know, there's a lot of people out there that are still trying to build the same business I had a year ago and still trying to do the same things. They're still trying to, you know, wholesale to the same people that are in default and can't move. And, you know, there's nothing you can do for those people, because Einstein says what the definition of insanity is: people doing the same thing expecting a different result over and over again. That's those people. But I bet you anything, all the gurus, everybody, the next hype in real estate will be loans, especially as we stay in the high interest rate market. And I'm not talking being a mortgage broker. I'm talking about actually giving out the loans. I bet you people are going to start raising money to do that, and that's going to be the whole gambit coming up. You heard it here first. So if you're not learning how to get into that side of things, that's what's going to be the craze. Just like wholesale went wild, you know. And wholesale's been around for a while, but the last couple of years, it was just like everybody wanted to wholesale. Everybody was wholesaling. And a lot of people who normally wouldn't make very much money in real estate made a lot of money in real estate doing that. And you'll see the guys who are just taking advantage and the guys who convince themselves that they cracked the code, that this was something they did based on who survives. And that's what a lot of real estate is. It's just survival. You know, if you can survive the winter, you'll probably beat most of your competition just doing that. Just hanging around long enough. Now, that's not all of it, but a good portion of it is just showing up and sticking with it. Because a lot of people during this are going to change. They're going to think, oh, the next thing is, you know, Amazon stores. And their license will lapse. And by the time they figure it out, everybody's moved on from them. But yeah, I mean, it kind of reminds me of like when I got into real estate, like the whole craze was short sales. Everybody who was doing anything was doing short sales. They were making a truckload of money off of short sales and REOs. And don't get me wrong, you can still make money off of short sales and incomes, but people had their entire business based off of short sales and REOs. And, you know, and as quick as it came is as quick as it left. Short sales stopped showing up. And, you know, the agents who had built their business on it pivoted and, you know, went back to retail or whatever it was. And then there was agents who saw all the people get rich off of REOs and short sales and think, okay, I need to do some REOs and short sales. And it was drying up. There was no way to get the same launch that those guys had because there wasn't enough volume in the business. And so it's kind of the same thing I see with wholesale, is there's a lot of these guys looking to launch themselves into success with wholesale. And don't get me wrong, you still got to maintain, like if you have a wholesale business, maintain it. Don't just let go of it because it's not as crazy as before. But like right now, it's not going to give you that same launch that you might have seen your friend from high school get in the last couple of years. You know, it's going to take a lot longer to do it than what it took him. So if that's your expectation, is like, oh, I'm going to launch my business off of wholesale and all this stuff, and that's how I'm going to become this savvy investor. It's a way to make money, don't get me wrong. But it will not be as quick as your buddy who started in 2020. At least for right now. Now it may come back, but one of the things I did learn about real estate was, you know, you got to have your core business and then branch off of that. And the core business, I think that's always going to bring you, you know, deal flow for wholesale and commissions for your sales guys is just regular residential retail real estate. And there may come a day where that goes bye-bye, but I think we still have a good amount of runway. And so if you can make that your foundation, the rest becomes a lot easier. It becomes a lot easier to do the wholesale, survive, because you just get opportunities. Like, for example, we just got a listing, and you know, when we go to a listing, we give them both options. We give them the cash offer, and then we also give them the option of, hey, this is what we would list it for. And a lot of times before, almost everybody was taking the cash offer, because the difference between the cash offer and what you would list it for after all your fees wasn't very much, because property values were increasing at such a rapid rate that people would buy it knowing by the time they close it and get it ready for resale, it'll have gone up in value. But now that difference is much higher. So the price that we would wholesale might be $170, and the price we would list it at is, you know, $215. So to a lot of people, that's a lot of money and can make or break the deal for you. So they'll choose to list it instead of just taking the cash offer. Which is why wholesale was so crazy before, is because it was way easier. And, you know, you can basically pay market value, and then whenever the home goes up in value, that's your wholesale fee. So, you know, in the time it takes you to market the property, and then if you get a little discount on top of it, you know, you can make a $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 fee pretty easily, which is not so much the case now. Like, wholesale fees are pretty close to what commissions would be on a deal. In a lot of cases, you know, you might, like, a lot of times it's $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. And that could very well just be what the commissions would be. So instead of giving yourself 10 days to sell it with a listing agreement, at least you have, you know, 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is to sell it. Because once you kind of burn a contract on a wholesale, chances are somebody else is going to go snipe it for a lower price. And so all the effort you put in is wasted. And somebody else gets paid off of it. So there's pros and cons, and my thing is do both. You know, they'll both feed each other. The deals you can't wholesale, you can list. And the deals you can't list, or the deals that are better, you just wholesale or buy. But yeah, so if you feel like you're just spinning your wheels in real estate and everything you're doing is not working, it's probably because the stuff that you're doing no longer works. Like, if it worked really well for you last year or the year before and you don't find it working, it's probably not the right strategy. The fact that you're getting a deal here and there gives you hope and belief that, oh yeah, we're doing it. It's just going to take time, which is true, but I'm warning you, some strategies are dead. Like, if you were wholesaling to institutions, you know, you're working 10x to get one deal versus before. So, but I don't say any of this to discourage you from doing wholesale or real estate or anything like that. I just say this to encourage you to improvise and kind of get creative. You know, because in real estate, we're for sure in a recession as far as salespeople go. I've been seeing the amount of pain that a lot of agents are seeing and having to go through. And that's one of the main things I see. So like for us, we changed our strategy pretty quickly, so we were able to gain market share and boost our business pretty rapidly. And who knows, the market might go back to what you were doing before works, but save those strategies for when it works. Man, I love the paint on this car. Whenever I clean it up and you get some sun on it, it's just like the most amazing metallic. Really doesn't, I mean, I'll try to get it on the camera, but the camera doesn't do it justice. Like when I was doing the roof and you put bead maker on the roof, it just like, it's an insane sparkle. It's kind of funny too, because Julie, when I bought this truck, I think she was more of a fan of the black one versus this one. Hence why she got a black Porsche. But I think like just the uniqueness and stuff has grown on her. And like I even think for her, she likes more unique colors now. Well, that's it. So if you're new here, we wash cars, we work on cars, we do projects around the house. We talk about real estate and business. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, drop a like on the video, and it's good to be back. I'll see you guys for more.